Next, on HBO.
A teen who accidentally zooms back to 1950s, Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd star in Back to the Future.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
Michael J. Fox goes back to 1955 to recover a sports almanac that negatively Back to the Future Part 2.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
Michael J. Fox revs up the DeLorean one last to save in the Wild West in the conclusion of Back to the Future Part 3.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A man is an African-American activist by inspired of the true story. Denzel Washington starts in Malcolm X.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
Los Angeles cop and a 10-year-old boy transports of the movie theater, Arnold Schwarzenegger, in Last Action Hero.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
She cooks, she cleans, she's a regular Mary Poppins with a little something extra. Robin Williams and Sally Field in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
In America, we like thank that all men and their sperm are created equal. Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson star in Made in America.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A killer from the past is unleashed on a world of pacifists. Ever see a fox and a henhouse? Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, Demolition Man.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
Batman and his partner encounter a new foe, was left a string of robberies. George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell star in Batman and Robin.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A behind-the-scenes for the Terror supernatural horror film starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead, HBO First Look, Final Destination 3.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A behind-the-scenes for horror action film starring Samuel L. Jackson, HBO First Look, Snakes on a Plane.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A simple game of cat and mouse becomes strategic side-splitting warfare between man and rodent. Nathan Lane and Lee Evans, Mouse Hunt.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
The short-dressed secret agents don't even break a sweat. They take on a new alien threat. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, Men in Black 2.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
With great power comes great responsibility, and becoming his personal credo. Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe, Spider-Man.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
5 dogs and their owners, trainers, and handlers travel to Philadelphia to compete in the Mayflower Best in Show.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
The successful couples with an idyllic California life, aside from the household, John Larroquette and Kirstie Alley, Madhouse.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A jilted talk show producer uses her womanizing roommate, Ashley Judd, Greg Kinnear and Hugh Jackman, Someone Like You.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A 17-year-old high school student becomes a werewolf and reveals to his secret. Michael J. Fox stars in Teen Wolf.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A teenage kid has recently been becoming a werewolf in Hamilton University. Jason Bateman starts in Teen Wolf 2.
Next, on HBO. Next, on HBO.
A den is another faraway planet occupied only by highly evolved males. Gary Shandling stars in What Planet Are You From?
Next, on HBO. Next on HBO.
Amnesia plays a deadly role of an anonymous man who tries to piece together his life. Ray Liotta stars in Inferno.
Next on HBO.